Yo, what's good, YouTubes? This is your boy in the NYC. It's me, Ray, and this is the EDCCP. That is the Everyday City Carry podcast. And there are those situations when you're just talking to somebody, right? And you kind of like have a similar vibe and you just vibing off each other, and that's exactly what it was like. Sitting down with the homie Mannered EDC. He is the guest for this week's podcast, and I hope that you enjoy it. Yo, what's going on? We got my buddy Brad, aka Mannered EDC, aka the guy who loaned me his FremForge exec. What's up, dude? Welcome.
Thanks so much, Ray. I really appreciate the chance to be on. This is awesome.
Yeah, man. I really have to thank you because you saved my week. Because I was like, oh, it's Tuesday, I got a video already edited. It's already backed up and scheduled to release tonight. And I was like, oh shit, I don't have any guests anymore. Because normally what I do is I back up 4 guests and then I'll have 1 guest per week for the month, right? I think I got to stop doing that. And I just got to ask everyone that I want on and just podcast heavily for maybe 2 weeks and then just chill for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm going to do from now on. But welcome, man. I've
got no life, so anytime you need or like somebody to fill a spot, just shoot me a message.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have I'm trying to figure out a way and schedule it so that I can have people that I've had on before. Like maybe I'll have you back, Zach, Blade Brigade New York, Daily Carry Solutions, and have a group thing. And I think people would really enjoy that. The scheduling is going to be a nightmare, I already know. But that's definitely something that I'm looking into, man. Look, dude, listen. When you decided to send me that FremForge exec, man, I was like, wow, this guy is so cool. And then you gave me a toast on Instagram.
This is for my buddy Ray over at Everyday City Carry. Little shot of bourbon for you there, buddy. Buffalo Trace is my brand.
No one has ever done that. Yeah. How did we meet anyway? How did we discover each other?
It's funny. So if I remember, I think what happened was I've been a Cedric and Ada fan for a really long time, right? And I remember watching something, and I think he plugged you at some point, and I don't remember when it was. And I was like, Everyday City Carry, and he, like, what is it? And this was before I got into doing YouTube stuff or anything like that. And so I went and checked you out, and I'm like, whoa, holy shit, how do I miss this guy? I mean, this is like a whole, no, I mean, seriously, it's like a whole fresh, different way of, talking knives, talking EDC, bringing, just like this, bringing people from the knife YouTube personality sphere kind of all together and chatting. So I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So I'm watching you for a while, and I'm like, wow, this guy's really cool. And I think I just had, you clearly were looking for, it was like, hey, send me a knife. I'll look at anybody's knife. I don't care.
Yes, I remember now. I put out a call on a video probably.
Yeah, I think
where I was probably like, listen, I'm struggling to eat. Just send me knives right now.
And it's funny. So I was like, I think I remember this distinctly. I was so I do legislative work, and I'm sitting in a hearing, right? And obviously not paying attention because, and so I'm like not actually doing my job, and I'm watching, Knife YouTube secretly, and I'm going, oh, Ray, that's right. So I got to message Ray. So I think I messaged you during that hearing, I remember. And I was like, and then I'm like, hey, and while I've got you, maybe you can give me some sound pointers or some microphone pointers. So I think
snap
that way. And then, then the exec was on its way, and there we go. Here we are.
Dude, that's so awesome, man. Yeah, that was a really, really cool knife. I think I've only checked out one other FremForge model before that. It was the Archbishop 2.0, which I actually fucked up because in the Apex Pass Around group, we were sent three different versions of it, right?
Right.
And then I was trying to do a cool trick with it, and it flew away from my hand and landed blade first, on this pipe in my brother's basement.
Of course.
And it was so fucked up.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's all good though, because what happened was, and I think it was geared, I want to say it was geared toward gear maybe, because at the end of that run, Ferrum Forge was like, hey, we want you to raffle it for everyone that reviewed it.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
one person like got all three.
Oh,
Like,
seriously?
and I'm pretty sure it was geared toward gear. I could be wrong, but made me feel real good. This is why the knife community is so cool. Is he messaged me and he said, hey man, it's all good. It's gonna look like this in about like 3 weeks anyway. You know what I mean? I use all my shit. I was like, damn, yeah, that's so awesome. What are you carrying lately, man?
So it's funny. So it's a couple things. So I'm one of those guys who, and I think it was more of trying to be as sincere as I could about doing this channel. It was like, I'm not going to review something that I haven't at least opened once or twice before, So is it like, I don't do a lot of mail calls for that reason. Like, hey, this is what I got, first impressions videos, stuff like that. I really don't do that. So I've sort of been carrying two things. I have like sort of what I've in the mood for carrying that day. And then I'm carrying my secondary carry, my sort of secret carry, as I've been calling it, which is the one that for the channel. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of a pain in the ass. I don't really actually like it that much.
Okay, which one is it?
Yeah, so I've been carrying just like whatever it is I'm trying to review and stuff like that. But I'm also a guy who, so today, for example, and so this Finch Runtley, right?
Ooh, I've tried that one.
Yeah, so they call this their Ghost Green or whatever, right?
Looks cool.
It's pretty dope, yeah. So I was carrying this, but then I get like antsy or edgy or something. I don't know what it is. So I got to switch it up. It's like I got to come inside and switch it up. I'm like, what am I going to carry around? So it's like then I was carrying the mini. Well, and I think I saw your post of the arrow.
Yeah.
So I was like, ooh, I should go carry my mini smoke for a little while.
Oh man, that's so cool. You're lucky you got one of those.
Oh, I love this thing. Yeah, it's ideal for.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like that. Did that when I do on my videos and stuff. God, it's horrible. But,
awesome.
But I mix it up a lot during the day. I like to just like, but it was different when I'm working or when I'm when I'm working in a building or something like that. I'll pick it out and go. But I've really been gravitating a lot towards smaller, more slender carry these days, and I don't know what that is. I mean, I still like to, if I'm doing yard work or something, I might break out a bigger, heavier knife. But
is that which one is that again?
80-15.
Yeah. Wow.
Awesome. I love this. This is actually a funny story. You want me to tell you a funny story?
Sure.
It's not that funny, but I bought this on Amazon, right? And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get this thing. It's gonna be so cool. And it was coming from Miami. I remember, for whatever reason. And then like a month later, it still never arrived, right? And I was like, oh
shit.
Yeah, so I gone through this process with Amazon. I was like, hey, my knife never came, whatever. So they're like, oh yeah, okay, we'll give you a refund. We see it was damaged. It was damaged in transit, right? And so I was like, okay, no worries, whatever. Then like 4 months later, I get this raggedy ass, like literally tire marks on the box, like shows up at my doorstep, right? And inside is this knife.
Oh, dude, I love getting one up over on Jeff Bezos, yo.
Right? It was the freebie. It was like this little $200 freebie. And I was like, this is the greatest. And then I was like, oh, do I have to like call them and tell them?
They will not miss the money, dude.
No, I did not.
They will not. That's so crazy. It's never happened to me with a knife, but I remember I had like plant lighting systems. Like this was like I was still living at my mom's. This is when I was still trying to do music still. And then my ex was there, and she was like growing plants too.
What, like grow operation?
No, not that. I wish it was that cool, and I was a drug kingpin, but it's not. But
we're really open on that.
No, like what happened was we thought it was never delivered, and then we're like, yo, it's like $80 or something. We're like, oh fucking, it never delivered. They sent another one the next day. And then like much later, you know how Amazon will leave packages like in your yard or something?
Yeah.
It was like in this little cubby, like at the side of the house. And then we had a whole new thing. So we had like two, it was for like succulents and stuff like that. Like succulents, plants that like are easy to grow inside. But yeah, that's so crazy, dude. What are
No,
you drinking tonight, man? You drinking anything?
what's that?
What are you drinking tonight, man? Are you drinking anything right now?
So I'm a man of the people, as you know. People man.
Oh, the Coors Light.
I'm a simple man. But I've got it in my cool New York Cooperstown. I'm a big
Oh,
baseball.
nice.
Yeah, so I got to go to Cooperstown last year for the first time, which was pretty unbelievable. But
It's
yeah.
funny that you have a Coors Light story that I just watched on your YouTube. I watched the video of the We Knife like banter.
Yeah, I can
And
reenact
and then you put
my little
you put
summit or whatever.
you're like, I had to hike outside because Ben is such a outdoorsy guy, and you just put it on a rock with Coors Light.
It was the best I could do.
Yeah, it's so funny. By the way, I love that video, man. I want to talk about your videos for a little bit.
Oh, cool. Sure.
I always like, try to do my homework, and I watch like I cram a bunch of videos of the guests I'm gonna have on, and I really like how you went about with that video for the We Knife. It's called the banter, right?
You did. Yeah.
And it was like you told your story with images while you were playing with the knife, and I just thought it was really cool that you did it that way. I just think that we need more of that in the knife community. Like I think that I don't want people to feel like when they get into the knife hobby or knife YouTube that they have to be this ultra like knowledgeable spec heavy guy to be a voice in the community. Like, I am certainly not that guy, but I love knives as much as the next person. Like, I couldn't even imagine a life where I didn't, like, if I wasn't into EDC gear. I just couldn't,
No, I hear that 100%. In fact, it's not only like, I mean, it's not even so much. I mean, I even mess up in my video. I mean, I like to do a little research with my videos, so I always have a little crib sheet next to me, right? That gives, so I can be like, hey, okay, it's this steel, it's this whatever. But just so I keep myself on track, so I'm not rambling. But more of that, it's not only is it not a need to be a spec expert, but it's not feeling like you have to also be. I think I said once in a video, like jumping out of airplanes and killing seagulls in mid-flight or something. It's like,
yeah.
You don't have to be a tactical, like I said, low speed, high drag. I mean, that's I mean, that's me to a T. And I think on some level, it doesn't mean I don't find a lot of joy in carrying these around or find use for it as a tool all the time, right? You don't have to be out there doing some sort of Steven Seagal. Does he even make movies anymore? I mean, some sort of knife.
He was a cop at one point, right? He was a cop at a cop show. Can you just imagine like Steven Seagal like pulling you over? Like what the hell?
No, but thanks. So I mean, truthfully on that video, it was funny. I was talking to my buddy JD over. He's Shadowborn Hanks. I don't know if
yeah. I bought stuff from him before.
Yeah, so his Hanks are fabulous, and he's just a really awesome guy. And so I've been able to connect, and I connect him as I've been going through this little more. I guess we could talk about it. I mean, sort of more public engagement in the community since I've been doing YouTube and my Instagram channel, etc. He and I were sort of chatting about the banter, and I was like, God, there's going to be 87 reviews of this thing, right? I mean,
yes,
right out of the gate. It's not only is it a new knife, it's from it's what is up, guys, Ben Peterson, right? I mean, it's like the man himself, who I've never met him. I've had some message exchanges and stuff like that, but by all accounts seems like a super friendly, easy to talk to kind of guy. And so everybody's going to want to celebrate that, and rightfully so, right? And we were kind of chatting, and to his credit, he was like, well, why don't you do something that's not a review? Like, just do a day, catalog your day or something with it. And so that's really where that idea came from. And it was actually one of the more fun videos I had, because throughout the day, like when I knew it arrived, right? So I was like, oh, it's on the porch, it's, whatever. And so I'm like, I'm just going to take this around in a normal, boring Brad day and show the knife off, and just kind of, not only experience it that way, but maybe let viewers see a little more about me, and just sort of, kind of my daily activities, and just do something fun and different. And, I still have some plans for some type of review. I do these knife bartitsus, which is my version of a knife comparison, right? So I've got a comparison coming up with this and the Sage 5.
Nice.
And the reason for that is I think the Sage 5 is kind of the penultimate everyday carry knife, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It does everything really, and I think that's really what Ben was going for with this, was trying to do everything right. And so anyways, I thought it'd be a fun comparison. I'm not going to pull any punches necessarily, but yeah, anyways, sorry, long-winded there. But
No, it's perfect, man. I'm listening. It's really it's great to hear your perspective on how you did that video. It's I love seeing that. That's like my thing. That's why I push guys like Backpack B or the Fuller Fanatic, because
Right.
just that it's so different from what you're seeing. You just see tons and tons of videos in a similar format. People have different stickers, you know, they have their tabletop. That's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, right? Because we need that. But that's why I enjoyed watching your videos today, is like you will splice in like little clips to like inject some humor into it. And like just that little short break makes you very different already, you know? And I love that, dude. I love that. I want to see more of that. I was explaining this to a friend who was like, oh, you know, because he was telling me, it's interesting how people like to watch different things in knife YouTube. He's like, I don't necessarily like to watch a lot of the cinema, a lot of the cinematography and people that do cinematic shots and stuff, because I just want to see the knife. You know, if I wanted to watch a Christopher Nolan movie, like I'd watch Batman or something. You know what I mean? Like, but and that's fine too, right? But for me, I like seeing that, and also I think with the newcomers, like the younger generation coming in, who are used to YouTube or used to TikTok, these big vloggers and influencers, they're gonna want their videos at a certain quality, and that's where people like Backpack B and the Fuller Fanatic are really going to shine, is with a younger audience that are coming into the hobby, like after us, the generation after us, you know?
No, I think that's exactly right. And in fact, you know, part of what's, you know, and I was hesitant a little bit even when I started doing this, and mostly it was, you know, so I started in, I think my first video went up in like February of this year, and so I was like, okay, you know, another, and I think I've even joked with you about, like, it's just another pair of hands on YouTube, right? It's like, what am I bringing, any different, anything new? And I think part of it was I wasn't really setting out to do this, and I'm still not really. I mean, I wasn't setting out to, you know, like, I want to get my 100,000 subs, right? I mean, that's not why I started this. And more of it was I wanted to engage in a different way than I had been engaging with the community.
Yeah.
And at the same time wanted to explore something a little more, that's a little more of a diversion, right? It's sort of a pastime, a hobby, whatever.
It's therapeutic, man. It's therapeutic, you know?
Exactly. You know, with all the COVID stuff that's happened, it's really turned out to be pretty awesome to be able to do that, to have this sort of mental diversion that I can go lock myself away and kind of focus on this. But yeah, and I think also was really wanting to push I don't know, even that name Mild Mannered to me was, in a lot of ways, I mean, it was designed to be, you know, I'm just an everyday guy, right? I don't do anything above and beyond. You know, I'm not the second half of that story where I turn into Superman or whatever, but you know,
or Batman, right?
Well, yeah, or Batman for that matter. Yeah, I'm not that. And so it's like, how do I just show that you can just be a normal person, enjoy this hobby? And you know, it's funny, you talk about demographics. It's like, and I think I'm quite a bit older than you maybe at this point, so I don't know if we're quite in the same wheelhouse, but I look at my analytics, right, on YouTube, and almost the vast majority is that 35 to 45, right? That's like that's my chunk mainly. And I laugh because I'm like, most of the little movie clips or little weird funny things I put in my videos are from stuff that when I was growing up, or that, you know, movies that were big when I was, you know, in college or whatever it might have been. And so I'm like, I wonder how many people are just like, that's the most obscure, pointless movie, you know, reference ever. Why would somebody do this? Like, I'm immediately unsubbing or finding another channel.
Hey, I got it, but I think my parents force fed me. Like, I basically learned how to speak English, I think, through movies and Saturday Night Live. I think that's really why I know so much cinema, even from before my time, you know?
Right.
Um,
So, yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say. So, I mean, for me, it was just I wanted to, and I do little things that are more for myself. Like even my weird little stuff that I keep on the table. Like I mix that up in every video. Every video has a slightly different, either a Hank or some other little tchotchke of some variety that I'll throw up on. So, I mean, a lot of these things are more for me than for anything else, right? It just gives me pleasure to do it, and so I do it. And maybe that's a little selfish and vain, and the viewers are like, "Show me the knife!" Quit with your
No, man. You know what? Here's the thing, right? There are like almost 8 billion people in the world, and there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are just like you that want to hear a voice like yours.
Well, I appreciate that.
You know what yeah, for real. I mean, that's what I thought for me too. That's when I started to go like harder on the channel, was like, I was like, who the hell wants to listen to me? And I'm like, there has to be like other gamer geek, knife geek, anime geek, like movie geek, comic book geek person. That's what I am, right? That's
Right.
that's sort of into tech and all that loves knives too. And
Yeah.
I'm starting to meet more and more people like that. And that's just the thing. I told myself, I was like, look, there's like 8 billion people in the world. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are going to want to watch and hear a voice just like yours. So I started getting more into it. Back to your channel, actually, I was admiring your channel aesthetic, and also the way you made your logo with the orange and black. And there was like a Tucson in your video, I think. I'm not sure if that was a Tucson or not. It was black and orange. Was it?
I bet. Was it?
Oh, it's a Bestec. Okay, is it Bestec?
Bestec, this one?
Oh yeah. I saw that, and also the way you do your thumbnails, it's so uniform and clean. It goes with the whole mild-mannered like theme, and I was like, man, like it's like I was like, I wonder if he planned this, because the way that your channel looks overall is like it really goes to the theme, man. Like it's really good.
I appreciate that a lot. So, a couple things are kind of funny. So if you look back into some of my earlier thumbnails, they're all chaotic and stuff, right? And part of it, well, right. And it was like, there was a sort of an evolution there, right? And I, from the beginning, I won't lie and say it just sort of, so I was on Instagram maybe like 2 weeks with my original sort of logo, and was like, oh, if I'm going to do this, I want to try to, and this sounds counterintuitive to what I said earlier, but sort of build a brand, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't a brand in the sense of, I want to try to build some business empire or something like that, because that's not how you do it. But just sort of be a bit more polished, right, in what I was trying to do, and have fun with it. And so that's when I took the logo a little bit more seriously. And I run a consulting business on the side to do some stuff, and so I have a lion as part of the logo for that business, and so I wanted to kind of pull that in. That's where the lion came from for this. So there's like a little personal nod, right, for me, and that kind of thing. And the black and orange, to me, I don't know why I've gravitated. In a lot of ways, I look at my logo sometimes, I'm like, God, that's ugly. Why did I choose to do that?
No, it's good, dude. When I saw it, I was like, that's a cool logo. I told you that too on Instagram.
I know, I remember that. And I was like, really? It's cool? That's nice.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Like I still need a logo right now. I still need one. People have submitted. I've gotten 3 submissions actually. I forgot the very first one that I got. I want to say that Jared and Kara from Neves Knives linked me up with this guy who made their logo, and their logo is great, right? Like Neves Knives, that green, you just know that. So like, sometimes like there are artistic differences, right? And this guy, I don't want to diss him because I appreciate the hustle and like his effort, but like he sent me a logo, and like it was the Statue of Liberty, and she was holding a knife, bro. And I was like, nah, dude. But I tried to say it in a nice way and try to tell him what I wanted. And I was like, like it could be like maybe the skyline or like buildings, and then have like a Times Square kind of like color palette, like the purples, the neons and stuff. I like a lot of like street art, graffiti art, things like that, like very New York, right? Like everyday city character.
Right.
And he just never answered me again after that. I felt so bad. It was like a Statue of Liberty with like a folder. I was like, oh shit.
Yes.
Oh man. She's like welcoming the immigrants to America with a folder.
Bring me your huddled mass.
I just went back to the Philippines. I'm just kidding.
It's like,
but yeah,
wow,
man,
this city is rough. You know?
I really like your channel aesthetic, your logo and everything. And how has it been, by the way, like with your YouTube? How often do you post? You were talking about how you have a structure to your videos. Like, how do you plan, or how do you go about making videos? How do you go about creating one?
No, so appreciate that question. So I think on some level, on my channel, you know, so let's take a Nick Shabazz channel, for example, right? He reviews a lot of different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as over the years, and I've been a follower of his from when he was, gosh, I think down in the 20s of thousands, you know, like long time.
I told him I followed him when I was like around 15, 16,000, and he was like,
Yeah,
whoa, you've been with me for a while. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And one of the things that he does really well is he'll review knives that are crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, he does that a lot less now than he used to. But in the early days, I mean, he had no problem bringing on a knife and being, you know, 10 minutes later, you're like, yeah, this is a piece of garbage. Don't go buy it. You know, you know. My channel is a little bit reflective, or at least my videos are a little bit reflective of my kind of eclectic taste in knives, right? So you're going to see things on my channel, generally speaking, that speak to me, that I like, or interested in, and wanted to check out. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be awesome. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to keep it, you know, or whatever. But they're generally going to be things like, I rarely will just be like, oh, this knife is making the rounds. Everybody's, you know, I want to pick that up real quick and do a review. Like, you're not going to really get that from me. The downside of that is that can leave voids in my filming schedule, right? So it's like, and I really have kind of wanted to take seriously I want to give people, for the people that come for the videos, to learn about the knife, right? I want to try to give them the specs and do that at the beginning of the video so they can watch it and turn it off if they want, or whatever they want to do. But so I make my notes on a piece of paper. You know, kind of old school that way. And I leave it to the side, you know, kind of right over here. And most of the time, by the time I've started filming, I've got most of it memorized, but just I'll glance up like, oh, is this, yeah, this was a Chinese, you know, or this was $115, or, you know, whatever it might be. And then I go through that process. And part of me, you know, was like, well, Brad, if you're not going to do anything really different as far as a tabletop, and you're not going to do anything, you know, you're just going to be hands on YouTube. I like the idea of a little more structure to the video, and so that's kind of where I got into this. You know, we're gonna go through a classic review for me, which is that, you know, blade, action, scales and hardware, ergos and carry. It's like every video is gonna have that.
Yeah, it's a good structure, man. It's a good structure. I like it.
It lends itself to like an acronym or something, but I actually went over and over on that about trying to, like, I was like, oh, maybe I can figure out a cool acronym, and, you know, you're gonna get that for this review, but I just never did. So I just started putting it on the videos. But yeah, I mean, so by and large, you know, you're going to see videos from me, and I might get the knife in hand. You know, it was like, so this one I just did a recently on the Finch.
I watched that, and you know what? I wanted to talk to you about that. So I think that's a really cool knife. Same thing with the Runtley. But then I learned from you that they're made by QSP and Best Tech, right?
I think this is Best Tech and the 1921.
So like, my question is now, why the fuck are they so expensive?
Yeah, right.
They're so good though. But I'm like, damn, this is a lot of money for very little knife. You know, one of the things that maybe bumped up the price for the 1929 is like the titanium clip. Like, I mean, maybe like, I was like wondering why it was so expensive.
I'm a little bit unsure of that too, to be honest with you. And that's sort of what I said in the video. And actually, I talked to a couple other reviewers about this as well, because I was like, you know, in a lot of ways, this is a really nice knife. I mean,
it's dope, dude. I love it. I dig it, man.
The design, whether, you know, you get the carbon fiber or you get the Coco Bolo like this, or whatever. But there's a couple little things on it that definitely look QSP to me, right? And so, I mean, part of that is this heavy use of stainless steel, and I'm like, it looks really nice. And granted, this is supposed to be a throwback to a different era, but damn, those are some thick, you know, stainless steel. No wonder this knife weighs so much. And then on top of that, you know, there wasn't any milling out inside. So, I mean, I kind of went back and forth on it. And I think the other piece for me that was a little bit weird was the 154 CM, right? And I'm not really a steel snob, and that
Yeah.
comes. I try to make that clear in my videos, and I think there are a lot of people that really love steel, and that's great. And like I said, I got my starts watching Cedric and Ada, and
Yeah.
half the time it was for the entertainment, less the
Yeah.
steel.
But Cedric and Ada, I mean, that's another guy I'd love to have on my podcast. He's kind of like the Bill Nye of like the knife YouTube. Like he makes like learning fun. You know what I mean? That's why I'll watch his stuff, even though I'm not like a big steel guy. Like I'll watch him cut rope and like hurt himself because he makes it fun and entertaining, you know?
And the other thing that I feel like with him, it's like, I think what you see is just peak.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
That's him. I mean, I think when he turns off the camera, I think he's probably, I mean, you know, we all have to be, you know, normal adults when we go to work and do whatever, you know, but I think what you see a really authentic person sharing a passion, you know, in his style, which I think is really what I gravitate toward. But yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I think on some level, and you know, back to this knife. I mean,
back to this 154 CM we were talking about.
Oh, right, that's what we were talking steel. Sorry, I got in my own head with.
It's all good. I also didn't like the branding. I agree with you on that.
What's that?
Like the stamping of the blade.
Yeah, right. Well,
yeah, I'm like, why is it just? You can't be discreet with it. Like, you know how we just like puts the stuff there, but it's like hidden.
Well,
and like.
Well, it's funny. Like if this really was like an old knife, right? Like I've got some old knife that was my grandpa's or something. They all were like etched into the really bottom of the blade, you know, like, right. That's how they marked your knife, you know? So, I mean, for me, it was like, there's a lot to like about this knife. And granted, ProTech sells really expensive knives with 154 CM, right? I mean, I've got a Magic somewhere around here. I mean, that's
but it's a ProTech, dude.
It's a ProTech, right? No, I know. But I will say the action on this is awesome. The fit and finish is really, really good. And I'm torn on the price because
how much is it again?
This one was $115, I think, in the Coco Bolo.
See, like if it was like a steel that made me feel good inside, like S35VN or something, like maybe I would justify the price. Also, I was thinking like, oh, maybe these are made in the US. When I looked at the Finch Runtley, I was like, dude, why? Because I liked the Runtley. I thought it was a cool knife, but then I looked at the price. I'm like, geez, like
$150.
Yeah, I'm like, why is it so expensive? Like maybe they're made in the US. I didn't look into it, but now that I know that they're not, I'm like, damn, bro. No wonder to try to give it away for free right now because you know, like, are they selling? Like, I don't know, you know.
Well, and I really like this brand, and I really like what they're trying.
I dig what they're doing, bro, and they're very friendly. They hit me up.
Exactly, and I like the market. They should hit you. I mean, I like the market that they are trying to appeal to because it really fits into what I've, you know, I think it's the same kind of genre that I'm trying to talk to a little bit. But yeah, they got to watch the prices a little bit.
Yeah, I want them to succeed too. You know, because they have like they kind of, sorry about that. They kind of like have this mini knife market thing going on. Yeah, and I think they're really good, man. I like their stuff.
Well, and it's, you know, it's like Kunwu, right? I mean, this is where I kind of look at it and go, you know, for $110, I got an all titanium S35VN Kunwu Orion.
Yeah.
It's made just as well.
Dude, that knife is crazy, the Orion.
If not better. I mean, the grind on the Orion is one of the best grinds I've had on any knife. I mean, that thing is unreal.
I was like, how did they do this?
Yeah, I know. Well,
like the fit and finish, there are some weird stuff with it, but for what you're paying, it's like I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't either. Well, and even the, you know, and Sergio, I'm sure you've talked to Sergio.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
He's an awesome guy, and he's super willing to chat with you about any of the stuff he's got going on and just how they're getting things done. And I think he's trying to, one of his missions, I think, is to sort of break that wall down a little bit, right? And so you can say you can get this kind of quality and you don't have to pay $350 for it or whatever.
It's an honorable thing. He was like, I remember when I was chatting with him, he's like, I'm trying to show that foreign production can reach like these heights at this price point, like the highest level. He's like, I've got machines that like, you know, fucking Wii doesn't have, you know what I mean? Like he was telling me all this crazy shit. He was like, bro, I got these machines that we're using and it's like, nobody has these. And I believe him. You know what I mean?
I do too. I mean, and when he was talking about how they do, how the hand grinding with, whatever, and you look at that grind, I mean, it's like very rarely. I mean, if you look at the very tip of a knife, right, you can kind of see, okay, it's a little center on the one side or the other. Those knives are just perfect, and it's almost all of them like that. And when you put that Ronin coming out, I don't know if you were in on that Kickstarter or not, but I'm kind of excited to see if they were able to replicate that level of quality.
Yep. So. I think when they were making that, like the COVID stuff, like hit super hard at that time. Oh, right. With the Ronin, he was like, "Yo, like I remember he was stressed out,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now it's like, I mean, who knows what's going on over there? Yeah, I'm not.
When it started in Wuhan, right? I mean, that was
yeah.
Center, and yeah.
You ever see those videos of like people getting sprayed? I was like, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like people are complaining over here, and I'm like, I bet in China you get cremated in the street. Like, bro. I'm like, damn.
This mask bothers you? How about we just spray DDT right in your face? Yeah.
You know what's crazy is I'm on TikTok, right? And I followed this Chinese TikToker who like shows you his everyday life living in China. And he was like saying, "Oh, I'm going to show you my apartment today. I am not a rich person. I'm actually like just like average." And this motherfucker lived in some luxurious ass like. I was like, "Is this what communism gets you, yo? I'm gonna start wearing red."
How many knives do you have? Show us your
Hey,
knives.
your audio went kind of weird. Leave the room, right? You can leave and then come back in.
Like leave the room?
No.
Right,
no, it was funny.
Low budget on this end.
We are back. Technical difficulties. What were we talking about again? I forgot.
I was probably rambling about some bullshit.
We were both rambling. It was shit. We were talking about the steels, and we talked about like Cedric and Ada. We were talking about why are the Finch knives so expensive, even though they're so dope. I think like a good price point for them would be like $85, maybe like 90.
I kind of feel like if they're not going to use titanium and some other stuff, I mean,
like what's up with the titanium clip? Was that just to drive up the price? I mean, look, granted, if you did ano work on the clip, it might look like pretty cool, but
that's true. That's true.
I don't know why you couldn't just leave it non titanium and lower the price, right, to like below 100.
That was kind of where I was sitting. I was like, if they're going to do titanium, I mean, I feel like they were trying to do that to give you as much bang for the buck maybe as possible. But then on the flip side, I'm like, these aren't very big knives.
Yeah.
Like, really, so I think they got the value. Yeah, we got to, So, we were even talking Kunwu, I think. We were talking.
Oh, yeah. With the Ronin. Oh, and I was like talking about how you get cremated in the street in China.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I was looking at this guy's apartment. I'm gonna see if I could find the guy's the exact video, and I'll splice it in here.
Right.
This guy was doing an apartment tour, and this was like a $2,500 to $3,000 apartment in New York City, like easily, bro. And he's like, I'm not a rich person. I go to like the local 7-Eleven or whatever it's called in China.
Right.
To get like a lunchbox thing for dinner, and it's like equivalent to $5, and I'm like, this motherfucker's eating better than me, yo. Like, what the you know what I mean? Like, yo, Daddy, I'll give up my rights. Just give me the wealth. It was bugging me out because I looked at his. That's basically what he does. He tries to show what living in China is like, and it's pretty bonkers though. So like their payment system, right? Let's say you go to 7-Eleven and you buy like a coffee or something. They have like self-checkout kiosks where they recognize everyone's face, bro.
Yeah, see, that's...
So you go like this, right? And he had a mask on, and it still recognized him and then asks for his PIN, which confirms on your phone too. So it's all like linked. And then he just pays. You don't have to take out a card. You don't have to do anything. It's all like... I was like, bro, that's
the trade-off of, basically living in a society where you've given up all your privacy at that point.
Dude, I understand that having social media, you're giving up a lot of privacy.
For sure.
Privacy is
but you're doing that voluntarily.
Yes. But like that privacy is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
It's on a whole nother level.
Yeah, that kind of freaked me out, man. Are you on any other platforms? I know you have an Instagram, you have a YouTube. Are you
Instagram,
thinking about?
YouTube. I used to be pretty heavy on Twitter. I
Yeah.
did that personally. I was, and then I kind of, I don't know. I just got tired of it. I think kind of more than anything.
I think.
I set up a
Yeah.
Twitter account with this, but I don't really do anything with it. And then I think prompted me, and went over on TikTok, and I do not. I cannot figure that friggin' thing out. I'm like, I don't even know what you're supposed to. I put a couple of things up there, I think, and you've been nice enough to throw me like a pity like or something, But I'm
No,
like,
every time I see you or Big Red, you're my only nice friends on there. I like you guys like right away.
No, I was like, oh, I got at least one friend, and I'm like, oh, Ray's got like 10,000. That's nice.
No, I don't. I have like 4 or something,
Yeah, but I'm like, I cannot figure that friggin' thing out. And then I sit there like I'm gonna start trying to figure it out, but then I just start watching all the TikTok stuff, and I'm like,
it's insane how easily you can stay on that thing.
Oh, it's
like
weird.
Lose track of time. It's like it's like Instagram. It's like an Instagram with a time warp built in, where you just like, because you could you could subscribe to the person, you could comment all on the same page. It's like kind of genius, actually. I make everything off the app. That's how I do my videos. Like, what do you edit with, by the way? I know you do some editing with the videos. Like, are you editing on a computer or something?
Yeah, so I use a free service called Clipchamp. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And it's, I mean, it's actually, for me, it was pretty it took me forever to figure out how to even, I was like, after like my 4th video, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Who does this? And then I look at like you or Backpack B or some of the other guys.
Backpack B is on another level, man.
I'd be like, man, it would take me 6 weeks to even Advanced Knife Bro. I mean, the stuff that he's got going on, I mean, his overlays and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so this one was a nice medium of like, okay, Brad, you have no skills, but it'll also somewhat like, you can incorporate your branding. And then, and the other thing that I like to do, so every video I put a little kind of funny music intro a little bit.
Yeah. Do you ever worry about copyright, by the way, since we're on that topic?
So
I know you're not monetized right now, but we're gonna try to get you to 1,000 subs like ASAP. That's what I wanted to have you on. And with awesome. 1,000 subs, I think it's gonna bring you over to allow you to do monetization. I haven't done it yet.
So it's funny. At first, I didn't worry about it, and then I started worrying about it, and then I kind of went back to not worrying about it. So part of the thing, some of those sound things I get right from. It's part of the Clipchamp service, right?
Okay.
So it's by purchasing that, I'm purchasing the rights to that, awesome. That kind of thing.
You're good then.
Right. A couple times, and I'll just be free. And so I remember a video, I think one of the intros I used once was Eye of the Tiger from Rocky.
Oh,
and I stole that. I mean, I just did a free steal from whatever.
Yeah.
And I did get flagged. Somebody flagged me on it, right? And so I was like, and that was the first time when they were like, "Oh, you've been flagged for violation of whatever." And I'm like,
"Really? You got flagged?"
Yeah. And I was like,
"But you're not monetized, right?"
No, I know. Well, and that's what it said. You're not monetized, so don't worry about it, basically. But
weird.
But it kind of, I was like, whoa. So then now I've gotten to the point where, if I can't find what I want through the Clipchamp thing, and they've got a pretty exhaustive library, but if I can't find what I want, I'll just buy the song on Amazon and just download it myself. And when I do that, I put that down in the descriptor that basically I purchased this song. It's my song.
I think that you're not going to have a problem until you monetize. I think that's what it is. It'd be so funny if you did that video and you came in like Rocky with like gloves. And you're like, cut me, Mick. And then your wife comes out and just goes like, you're a bum, Rock.
I should maybe do a revamp.
That's so funny. But like, it's weird with the copyright thing. I use a similar service for music only called epidemicsound.com.
Okay.
And they update their they have like the now trending list like every week. They have all the genres. They have actual sounds also, like the way Backpack B has like actual sound design. I did that for one of my videos, and it's really cool for that. I think I want to say it's like less than $15 a month. It's expensive, but basically as long as you're a subscriber, you cannot get flagged. And it's.
I mean, is it tied into YouTube though? I mean,
it's tied into your channel,
Okay.
And I believe it's basically tied into your email. So I use the sounds on my Instagram. I use the sounds on my YouTube, on my Twitter. I do sometimes. I do this thing called daily knife content on Twitter where I break down
Yeah.
a knife as
Yeah.
idiotically and as novice as possible in under. But then the people that I'm showing this video to, the people that follow me are like basically like Latino and Black, like gamer, anime, and comic book nerds. So like
Right.
they don't know anything about EDC. So when they just know me as the knife guy, and they know I'm a comic book nerd too. I do it on like a poster of like an anime or a comic book like Captain America or something like that, and then they really like that. But yeah, the music that I use there is also from epidemicsound.com. And the way that works is they license it to you as long as you pay that, that monthly fee or whatever. So I'm basically going to be a slave to them forever.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, obviously that goes away if you cancel your service, right?
Yeah. The thing that I'm thinking about with YouTube is like, I was like, maybe I do Patreon and I do like paid ads.
Oh man,
yeah. Not ads the way YouTube does it. I've talked about this before. The comedians, they'll get an ad from like Manscaped or something, like the ball deodorant company or whatever with the lawnmower 3.0. And my favorite comedians are ragging on this company for literally 10 straight minutes in a podcast, cracking me up. And they're getting paid thousands of dollars to do this. And I'm like, I want to do that. Like, I want Best Tech to like say, hey, here's $500 for the month. And then I will like in every video for like 5 to 10 minutes, I will just like be funny about what they're doing. But I also like the stuff, right? And, if it gets sales for them, then, something like that. It's like, I feel like the knife community will get to a point where it's going to be like that, where there are going to be strong personalities that do knife YouTube that are going to allow that to happen. I mean, look, this is what I'm trying to do with this thing is trying to show the hosts of these channels, man, like you and everyone else that's been on. It's like, we're actual people, and, we hang out just like everyone else, man.
No, and it's funny. The music thing is funny though, because I've been, and actually I wear even those little clips that I do, right? I mean, I pilfer those directly off stuff. I mean, so it's only a matter of time before I'm doing these hands with, handcuffs on them or something. But jail cell reviews.
I know, right? It's like mild-mannered prisoner.
Right.
It's really orange and black.
Right. Yeah, I've got the orange. That's right. Oh, shit. I was thinking ahead. You
know what's crazy that I see on TikTok, man? Is like I see people that TikTok in prison, bro.
Oh,
I'm like, how are they doing? They're like showing their jail cells, like, yo, this is where I cook, my bacon, egg, and cheese. I'm like, I know. I'm like,
you get phones? Like, how does this work?
Yeah. How do you spend any time on it, like at all? Like, are you a daily user, or you just go on and seldom, and then you get
TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I am not a daily user. I will go in like sort of fits and spurts with it, and then I'll like watch a bunch of stuff. And sometimes, my kids and I will sit there and we'll watch because it's like crazy funny stuff, or animals doing weird stuff or whatever it is.
Yes.
But I find it's like it tests my. I worry that it's like my already short attention span is just going to become even more.
Oh, we are definitely going to that.
Yeah.
The robots will kill us, or we will assimilate with them. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, because like all this social media, even searching on Google, searching on Amazon, is feeding data into like a cocoon right now. And that cocoon one day is going to evolve, and we're either going to be part of that and evolve into this new stage of human evolution.
Yeah,
or the robots will kill us.
Right, or we're just gonna get ground up for food to feed the other. It's like whatever, Soylent Green of some variety.
Oh shit, I know that movie, man, and the Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah.
So they're made out of people. It's Phil Hartman.
They're eating people.
Dude, I'm telling you, I learned how to speak English from Saturday Night Live, man. It's so
well. See, it's if you're gonna learn, that's the way to do
it. Oh man, back to the knife stuff. How do you go about purchasing a knife, man? Like, do you just you said you don't follow the trends. Do you just browse like certain retailers, or do you follow certain companies that on Instagram that you see? Like, how do you go about, like, you know, finding out about stuff?
Yeah, it's funny. So, I mean, and you know, I can't totally say I don't follow any trends, right? I mean, but at some level, um, a lot of it's driven on just sort of my own personal likes of, you know, the style of knife, right? And so I keep an eye, and I've become a lot more brand focused than I used to be. And what I mean by that is like I used, you know, for example, I used to hate Spyderco. I mean, and not the company, but just the knives. I mean, I was like, God, there's, you know, I'm like, and I'm a million people say this all the time, right? They're ugly. The whole, yeah, there we go, buddy.
This is an awesome knife, though.
Oh, I think it's, you know, I think it's the best knife Spyderco makes.
I love my Kapara,
Yeah.
man. I'm like, holy
It's
shit.
beautiful. I wish it was a tad smaller. That's the only thing. It's a little big.
It's
but
a little
no,
long,
I mean,
yeah.
it's a little long. But yeah, no, I mean, so I've become a lot more, like I said, the brands I gravitate towards, and you know, kind of back to our Finch conversation, or Kunwu or ProTech, or any of these, where you feel like there's just good people kind of behind the scenes. You know, Ferrum Forge, same thing. I mean, it's like, and it depends on what knife speaks to me. I mean, there's a lot of brands out there where it's like, and Spyderco maybe is a good example, where 90% of their knives I actually don't find interesting. I don't want to own them. I don't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
But
like you don't go crazy for the sprint runs like a lot of people do.
no, and sprint
I
runs
don't
are a
either.
funny thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we want to touch on that, but it's like, I'm not an anti-sprint run guy, only because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are people that ruin it for people, right? Especially like somebody showed me a post the other day, somebody who had like a dozen of those, what are the bombshells that
Oh, the
just dropped
bombshells.
recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody had like a dozen of them, right? And I'm
Holy
like,
crap.
right. And I'm like, first of all, where do you get your money? Because I can't afford one, much less a dozen. But
That's that white privilege, dude.
I
I'm just
get,
kidding.
oh, I get.
Scrooge
But no,
McDuck, honey.
yeah, well, right. And I'm like, so, I mean, you know, how are retailers or companies limiting, you know, people buying a dozen of these friggin' things when there's people out there going, I couldn't, you know, I don't know. I mean, the sprint run thing, you know, it's one of those things that everybody's going to have their own take on. But no, so for me, I mean, to answer an easy question, I think it's really what just sort of piques my fancy. I do follow the trends. I like to see what other reviewers have going on. I follow, you know, I listen to the podcasts, and I watch the feeds from, you know, different industry stuff, that kind of thing. And it's just like, oh, that knife, you know, I mean, oh, Spyderco's got these things coming out. Or Kaiser's the one that's been really interesting to me, is where I feel like they were one of the first companies when I first started getting into kind of knives again as an adult. I picked up this Kaiser Shoal, and I've talked about this. This was like one of their limited edition Kim Ning. I think it's numbered. I think this is like number 12.
Speaking of Kim Ning, bro,
right?
He dipped out from Kaiser, right? And he started Concept.
Yeah, no, exactly. And he's.
Do you know the deal with that?
What?
Like why that happened? Like
I don't know.
Yeah, like there's like rumors, and I've been like saying this a lot on videos, that like there was a beef, like a Kaiser beef, and then they just dipped out and started Concept. And I like Concept knives, man. They're freaking cool.
They are cool. But yeah, I've heard the same thing, that there was some shakeup with management, or move from the father to the son, and the son's, I don't know. But like this is M390. It was my first, it was my first high steel, right? My first high-end steel, where I'm like, all right, what's all the buzz about? You know, everybody talks about this, and you know, can I tell the difference? I don't know. I mean, who the hell knows? But I mean, I don't know that I've ever even sharpened this thing, and it's not like this is God's gift to, you know, the greatest knives ever made, but it means something in my collection, and I enjoy it. It's good size, whatever. But that's a company that I actually liked a lot. When I was buying a lot of Kaisers back in the day, and I've sold almost all of them at this point. Like, and I don't really buy any new ones. I think I bought the Contrail recently.
I was watching that video right before I got off the train.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, I like Justin Lundquist, and you know, that's maybe an answer to your question too. It's like, okay, I like that designer. He's working with, so I'm a big Ostap Held guy too, right? So the Metamorph, right? And he's got some ones I know coming with Wee knives. I think the Pier, it's going to be called when it comes out. So I've been kind of trying to keep my powder dry on some money, so I can pick those up when they come out. So I mean, it's more for me like, which designers do I gravitate towards? Who are they working with? What, you know, and then I make my buying. And then the other thing, it's like, oh, I just want a knife that fills this niche in my EDC life. You know, it's like I just ordered a Spyderco Capara, or I'm sorry, a Caribbean not that long ago.
Okay.
And part of the reason for that was like I had one. I loved it. It was my rust-free boating knife. And then I sold it because I'm an idiot. And I was like, I just need the money. And then I'm like, oh, I wish I had that
Damn.
Caribbean back. And so I was able to just get one on, I think Blade HQ dropped a few of them just recently. But anyways, yeah.
Do you go like boating a lot? Like, do you fish or something? Is that like one of your things?
Do some fishing. We have a boat. So it just, yeah, I mean, I like to, we spend a lot of time in the summer. We'll go out to do some.
Like lake or ocean?
Both. So I live here in Washington State, right? We got the Puget Sound, which is that big body of water, salty body of water. Mm-hmm. I live right near the bottom of that, and so we can walk to the ocean from our house. So it's not, or to the sound rather. So it's pretty nearby. Dude,
like the ocean, I think I always say this. I watched Jaws too early. I think I must have been
I don't swim because of Jaws.
But the thing is, like, the ocean fascinates me. Like on my Instagram, I have knives, and then I follow a lot of like Monster Fish Nation. You know what I mean? And I see all these crazy fishes, like freshwater and saltwater. So do you fish? Like,
I have no interest in the ocean. I just go around it or on it. I do not go in it, and so I do fish. I mean, I'm not a.
So you've never gone scuba diving or snorkeling or anything?
Oh God, no. I mean, you couldn't pay me. I don't know what. Yeah, no. I mean,
I've gone snorkeling, but not like deep, and that scares me. Like I see jellyfish, and I'm like, I'm out.
That's it. To me, it's along the lines of like skydiving. Like I don't understand the need to go into these places where we just physically shouldn't be. And to be truthful, like I said with the Jaws, I'm with you. I watched Jaws way too early. We had a pool growing up. Like sometimes I would be the only one in the pool. Like it would be getting towards evening.
Oh, at night, pool at nighttime by yourself? It's scary, bro.
Oh man, I would start to get scared of a shark in my pool, and I'm like, how ridiculous is that? But
it's like the way that you hear underwater is freaking. I don't know the way it sounds, like you know what I mean? That sound.
The whole thing is just a joke. I mean, we shouldn't be messing around with the ocean. So I mean, So I, and it's like I've always had this long-standing thing where I'm like sharks, right? And I'm not an anti-shark. Like these people that cut the fins off for soup.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Yeah, totally fucked. I mean, these are animals and they deserve to be respected and protected and all this shit. But I also figure if I don't consume any of these products, right? It's kind of like a tiger, right? I wouldn't eat tiger meat because in the off chance I run into a tiger, I want to be able to be like, hey, how about some reciprocal courtesy, right? Like I didn't, and I feel like if there's an instance with a shark, it's like I've never had the shark fin soup. I've never eaten maybe just bump me and move along, right? But you're not going to be able to because I'm not going to be in the friggin' water, so it doesn't really matter. But
you know what's crazy? Just to touch on that, like my uncle told me that if you've ever eaten dog before, like your dogs will always know that you've eaten dog before. It makes your stomach temperature like hotter. And I don't know if you heard this. I told this story on my podcast, right? Where I ate my own dog. Did you like?
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay, so I was like 5 years old, right? My mom was coming to visit, and we had this dog named Rocky who was like kind of bad. He was like a mutt. He was kind of a bad. He's a bad dog. Like he would roll around and cow shit all the time. Like we had back, and he was like getting really growly with my mom who was visiting from America. I was still in the Philippines. Like was getting snappy with her, and like my dad had to put him down, right? And I mean, it was like that kind of situation, right?
Sure.
And so he put him down that day, and I was still sleeping. I wake up, and there's a dish called adobo in the Philippines. It's like you can make it with chicken, you can make it with pork, with beef, whatever. And I see all this adobo and like rice like on the table outside. I'm starving. I just woke up. I'm a kid. And I'm like chowing down, bro. I'm eating it. It's so good. And then like when I'm almost finished, like they tell me that it's Rocky. I started crying. Yes. I'm like crying and I'm like eating the adobo, because like,
you're still eating it.
It's a third world country, and like
but it's Rocky. But he's so good.
Like I was crying, and then my uncle like immediately told me after that, like, yo, dogs are always gonna know that you had dog. It makes your stomach.
Oh God.
I was like, what's even more messed up is like the second time I had dog. Look, I was in a third world country in the 80s. Okay.
All right. All right.
So what happened was my neighbor's
It was
dog.
worse than dog.
My neighbor's dog got run over and he died. And then since we had a really big house, they like dressed the dog in my house, like, you know, they cut it up and made.
Yeah.
And like I ate them too. But I haven't had it since. I don't want to eat my cats or my dog or anything. It was a situation.
It probably just endears you to your cats. I mean,
every time, sometimes when I'm sleeping, Kelly will wake me up and she's like, "Yo, you're barking in your sleep again."
It's not me. It's just.
I just start scratching my ear with my foot. Oh man, what's the weirdest thing you ever ate, man?
Weirdest thing I've ever eaten?
Yeah.
Rabbit kidney.
Oh shit! What is that like?
It tastes like piss. So I went literally. Yes. So like I went to some restaurant and it was local here and it was rabbit on the menu, right? And I'm not really a squeamish eater. I'm a dog. I'm not a come on, right? But so it was like, oh, I'll get the rabbit. That looks so the chef, whoever it came out in like this little. There were all these little pieces, right? So it was like the rabbit liver, and then there was like the rabbit little like it was like little like rabbit chops, but with like like those tomahawk steaks, like
yeah.
It was like that kind of a thing, but on a rabbit, and it was only like this big.
Oh shit!
And then there was a bunch of other, and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh, that's special from the chef. That's the kidney, and I'm like.
Man.
Yeah, all right. So anyways, it was like basically a rabbit disassembled and then served to me. And so
How was it cooked?
Different ways.
Okay.
Yeah, so they did different things, and you poached it, broiled it, grilled it. There's different. The kidney, I don't know what the hell they probably just. That must have been a joke.
I've had rabbit before as a stew. I've always wanted to try. That's what I always say on my channel is like. Yeah. I'm a city boy like that wants to go hunting.
Yeah, right.
And I want to eat. I think I listen to too much Joe Rogan because I just want to shoot a bow and like eat elk. But my girl Kelly took me to the Gentleman Farmer, which is one of the few sort of wild game restaurants in New York City.
Yeah,
French, very expensive, very small, like one of those weird, like you only have like 3 tables inside. And then I had rabbit stew and I had wild boar chops and like it was really good.
Was
but not
good?
like a kidney. It was like
that was the so the rest of it was really good. I mean, the rabbit was delicious. I mean, the whole thing. But that kidney, I remember putting it in my mouth. I was like, oh my god, this tastes like urine.
Like piss. My friend who was in Iceland, they have this dish there. I think it's Greenland, actually. I'm sorry. Wait, which is the place that's cold?
Greenland. Well,
Greenland.
I think they're
Greenland,
both
right?
cold, but yeah, I think Greenland's cold. I think Greenland's colder. Isn't that the joke, right? Like Greenland's got ice and ice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So like they have a dish where like the Vikings used to make this dish where like they ferment like a shark. Like they bury it. Yeah. They bury it. And then he said, dude, I ate that and it just tasted like somebody pissed in my mouth. It was just straight up ammonia. That's what it tasted like. And I'm like,
yeah, exactly. That's what it just is ammonia. Yeah, it was just like, this is horrible. I did have horse in Germany. I backpacked.
How was that?
So it was good, actually.
Oh, shit. Well,
it was really good.
You know which part it was? Was it like the back?
I think I was in Bavaria.
No, I mean like which part of the horse was it?
Oh,
like,
God, no. Who knows? I don't know if I wanted
to. It was the face. Like they just put
right. It was his lower lip.
How did it taste? What was it like?
It was good. It was in a sauce. It was Pferdewurst or something, whatever they called it. And it was like in a sausage. So it tasted like
okay. So it was like ground up.
Yeah, okay. Or like a bratwurst or something. I don't know.
Wow, yo, that's crazy.
And I haven't eaten anything too crazy beyond that though.
I've had like snake. I think dog is probably the craziest thing.
Well, there's one thing to eat dog, and then there's another thing to eat your pet. Like you've checked 2 boxes there.
It was like, look, if it was like a necessity, right? Like
I get it.
But it was like they didn't want it to go to waste. Like how, like the native tribes and stuff. Like when an animal dies, like they eat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's just. It's
part
like
of
nature. Yeah. So basically that's what it was, and it was like, dude, it was like 19. How old was I? I was like 5 years old. That was like 1986 in the Philippines, bro.
I see.
I mean,
by the way, I was in the Philippines club in college, just so you know.
Oh, oh, in college. Wow. So what did you learn? Like Tagalog or something?
I
Or
don't. Yeah, oh yeah. I went to what's the Tininkling? Is that the dance?
okay. I'm sure I know. Did you wear like a barong, like the see-through
Well,
shirt
they
thing, or?
needed white guy. They needed some white guys. So I think it was like it was like it was my good friend. Actually, it was my wife's roommate at the time. She's Filipino, but she was running
Your
the
wife's
club. And was
Filipino?
like, she's like, yeah, my wife,
Her roommate was Filipino.
her roommate.
Oh,
And
I
so
was
she
like,
was
oh
like, "Oh, I'm
shit.
running this. Right? We need to make sure we get some non-Filipinos so that we can
Yeah.
make sure we keep getting money from the school or whatever." And
Oh,
I'm like,
snap.
"Oh, put it on the list. I love Filipino food. It's
Yeah, yeah.
awesome. It's the
Oh, so
nicest
you
people."
had Filipino food before?
Oh yeah, we would go to the embassy
Oh,
because I was in DC, and so we would go
yeah.
to like the Philippine embassy, and yeah, there was all kinds of cool stuff
Oh,
there.
that's awesome, man. Is there a
Right.
dish in particular that you remember that you like?
That's a good question.
Is it like like do you like the pork belly, like the liempo?
Yeah,
Have you had that soup that's like sour? Have you ever had that?
yes, I've had the soup that's sour.
Sinigang, right? Sinigang.
Yeah,
Not you're not into it? Not into it?
it's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Ha-
Her dad
Um,
used to bring us stuff too, and it was like the best. I mean, I know they weren't. I don't know if they were egg rolls or not, but they were like
lumpia. They're egg
it was
rolls.
lumpia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It was
Yeah.
lumpia. Oh my god, it was like the best
That
ever.
everyone that's tried Filipino food, when I ask them, they usually say that because it is
Yeah,
delicious, man. It's like little
man,
tiny
it's
egg
good.
rolls,
Yeah,
and you get
yeah,
the
and
sauce
homemade
and
like
stuff.
that and stuff. It's
Yeah, my
oh,
mom like just rolls it herself and shit. It's crazy.
yeah,
Um,
it's super delicious. So
what else are you into, man? Aside from the knife hobby, like, is there anything? You watch shows or anything? Like, do you play golf or like do you play any sports or whatever it is?
yeah, so I do play golf, so I'm a golf fan.
Cool.
I've been into comedy for a long time. Not into comedy, but I've always been a fan of laughing.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what do
So
you like to watch in terms of
it
that?
depends. I mean, I've gone through. Um, I think I was more old school. It was like I started with
Like
kind of
Pryor and like Eddie Murphy
yeah,
back in the
George
day?
Carlin, and
Oh yeah, come on, who isn't?
I mean,
That's a
and I was
comedy
a
fan.
huge Eddie Murphy fan when he was, like those Eddie Murphy Raw. I still go back and
Oh,
watch
dude,
those.
Delirious, Raw.
Oh
Oh
God, they're
man,
just
bro.
so yeah. He was so funny back, and I keep hearing that he's coming back to do
I
stuff.
think
And
Netflix is like, here's 80 million, do
right,
two
give him whatever,
specials. Like
whatever,
what?
give him whatever he
What
wants.
the hell?
I know. So yeah, so I mean, and then I got into more like. So do you remember when Dennis Miller used to do his
Yeah,
rants?
yeah. He's really
Yeah, yeah.
good.
Yeah, he was, but then he kind of got weirdly political, kind of towards the. I mean, I don't know. He got a
Yeah,
little
like he didn't want to make fun of George Bush, right? Is that
right. That
he's
was
the
I
guy?
remember that, and I
And
was
then
like, you
he's
can't
like
be a
my
comedian
friend.
and
I'm
not
like,
make fun. I
what?
mean, it's like comedians were waiting for that guy
Yeah,
forever. I mean, that
I
was like
make
a
fun of
gift,
my friends all the time. They're just degenerates, man.
right? I mean, they went from Clinton to George Bush. How could you not? That's like a comedian. Like, if you
Oh
couldn't make
man.
it as a comedian during those years, I don't know what your problem. But yeah, no. So there was that. What's the guy? I just saw him recently. Lewis Black. So I'm a big Lewis.
Yep. My girl loves him actually.
Yeah, and he's one of those that like you've seen him in person, like
Hmm.
in his shows. I like it a lot better than when I listen to him because he's so kind of a physical
Yeah.
presence, right?
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and so he's a guy that can make me laugh pretty hard. But yeah, and I mean, I was into movies. I'm a movie guy, so I've
Yeah.
always been.
So am I, man. Like,
Right.
what's the last good one that you've watched? Like, I watch all genres, so you don't got to
I
worry.
think the last good movie I watched, ironically enough, was of the new movies was Knives Out. So I saw Knives
Oh,
Out.
that's a good movie.
It's a great movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it brings in all these people from our younger years, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Don
Mhm.
Johnson and like
Yeah.
all these other actors.
A
Yeah,
little bit weird though. What's the James? Daniel Craig. Daniel
yeah,
Craig's
yeah.
accent freaked me out a little bit, but I got used to it after a
Thank you.
while.
I was the exact same way. Like at the
Yeah.
beginning, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna kill this movie for me,"
Hmm.
but then, like by the end, I was like, "Yeah."
You get into it kind of. It's
You do.
weird because he was so good, but then it's like, all right, maybe he's just like an English guy that was
And you
born
can't
in
do a
Texas or
weird,
something. Like,
right? Right. Can't do a weird like Kentucky
in
accent
Georgia,
or
I
whatever.
mean. Sorry. Like,
Yeah. No. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
it
It
was
was. Yeah.
so. But I love that movie, man. I saw that
That
in
was
the
a great movie.
theater. Yo,
So
yep.
big into war, like war historian stuff. So I was really, really Civil War, World War II. Was always really interested in that. Obviously, I mean, politics is something I was interested in since I was a kid. Which is, I mean, my
Yeah.
dad was a history teacher, and so I just sort of came up in that. And
Yeah.
what was the
1917.
Yeah, that was
That
a
was a
cool movie.
Yeah, dude. I watched
I mean,
that. What's awesome is like my mom's boss gets like a lot of movies. Maybe I shouldn't say this online. No, because like,
does he do what I
the
do with music on the
no,
YouTube?
the rich folk that are patrons and give
Right.
money, like get these movies early. So there
Oh,
was a
okay.
time when I would get tickets to go watch something in a private screening at like Lincoln Center in New York City, and my
Right.
mom's boss wouldn't go, right?
Right.
And then she would be like, "Hey, do you want free tickets? There's alcohol, free drinks, free food." And then I'd go like watch like oh, what was that movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson? She was like an AI, and Olivia Wilde
Oh,
was in
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Her.
Yeah, yeah.
So I watched that in the theater, and then Olivia Wilde was there, like just chilling on the balcony. Like it's crazy.
That's
So
cool. Yeah.
yeah, man, it was really awesome. I get to see a lot of the stuff early, so I got to see 1917, like all the Oscar winners, basically. I was able to view them privately because
Yeah,
of
that's
that
awesome. That's
connection.
cool.
And 1917 was one of those movies, man.
All right. Yeah,
Dude,
that
that was
that
crazy.
was a beautiful movie in a lot of ways. I mean, it
Hmm.
was, yeah.
That break when the guy was singing and everything is just quiet, and then they finally get there. I was like, oh shit, that's pretty wild. Like the way
Makes
it
your hair
calmed
stand
down.
up. I know. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty
Did you
amazing.
watch
World War One.
Dunkirk? I haven't seen that yet.
I did. So I'm a big Kenneth Branagh fan. So I
Yeah.
was really excited to see him do that. And it's another one that's sort of a beautiful movie, right? I mean, it's got the cinematography, and it's not. It's weird because it's by so many perspectives, right? So you'll see like, and it was. I couldn't tell if I was annoyed by it or if I liked it. But it was like, so like the fighter jet, the German fighter would not jet, but the German fighter would go flying by, right? And you'd see him strafing the beach, right? And you'd see it from his view inside the cockpit, right? And then the next view would be that exact same scene from the ground, right? So you'd see it from
Oh,
and so it was so it kept like sort of going back, like it's like I felt like
yeah.
the movie never went forward, kind of, because it was like they
Oh,
had
so
to
it
do
was
every
like,
scene like 3 different times, kind
so
of.
it'd be like, yeah, and then you see the guy's view from down here, like
Yeah, it was
watching the
really
plane.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was really
okay.
weird. And when you figure a lot of that had to be CG and some other, I mean, how they did that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was okay. It was not as good as I'd hoped it would be. Let me put it
Yeah.
that
Do you watch any shows or anything like that? Like, are you into
way.
any TV or not really?
Yes. Yeah,
What are
yeah.
you
So
into?
I mean, well, it depends. I go through waves, right? And then I feel like, TV's stupid, and then I watch TV anymore. So it's like my wife. We try to, I mean, I've got kids, right? So I get like an hour a night where my wife and I could just like watch something, and we generally try to find something. So we've really been into Bosch, the series
Oh, I've
on.
watched that before. It's
Yeah,
pretty
we
cool.
really like Bosch. Justified's probably our favorite
I've
all-time
watched
series.
that before too. Good show.
I think we've just started it for like the 4th time. We just love that
Yeah.
stuff. So I like a lot of crime drama on TV, that kind of stuff.
Love crime drama. Do you
Yeah,
watch like
and I like British crime drama too. So I watch a lot of British
do you
crime
watch
drama.
Sherlock?
Oh yeah, those were good.
Dude.
Have you seen Luther? Did you ever go back and watch Luther?
I haven't watched that. I know what it
Yeah,
is, but I
yeah, you
should.
should. It's
I remember
cool.
when I was watching Sherlock before Benedict. It's funny, like I know it's Benedict Cumberbatch, but I always call him Benedict Cucumber Patch.
I
Like,
always call him Cumberbun. I can never remember.
yeah. Like I watched Sherlock. That was before he got like super huge, right?
Yeah, but the
Um,
British shows are annoying though because they'll do like 6 episodes and then it's just done.
yeah.
Like they didn't, and I'm like, this was a good show. In the United States, we'd be running this for like 18 years. Like,
I
what do you
know. Yeah.
until the actors were like
Yeah.
decrepit? It's like, why are you cutting this off?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
no, I
it's
know.
so funny, like the guy that made Sherlock, like made Doctor Who. It's like
Yeah,
crazy.
no, I know exactly.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
insane, dude.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Dude, it was great having you on.
No, thank you. This was
We
awesome.
Yeah, it was really great, man. Very smooth. I didn't ask you to start a podcast. You should. I wanted to see how long I could hold out.
No,
Um,
no.
but it is definitely something that I think everyone who's serious about Knife YouTube should start because, we could all like share the growth together. I mean, that's why I wanted you to be on here.
Sure,
Everyone, please follow my homie, Mild Mannered EDC on YouTube, on
appreciate that.
Instagram. I'm going to put that on the screen. And yeah, I just want to grow the community and get everyone else like together, man. I'm trying to just link everybody.
No, well, and you know, Ray, that's the biggest thing that, you know, I mean, obviously appreciate you, you know, I mean, I'm honored to be on this, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little shocked you even asked, but
I knew I was going to ask you, bro. I knew.
No, but beyond that, I mean, it's like the tone, just the tone and the different voice that you're trying to bring into this community. And I think I've said this to you before privately, but it's like, it really, I admire it a lot. It means something to me. I think it adds that much needed richness that I think this community, you know, and I think this community welcomes that pretty darn well, which is great.
Man.
But that richness is what we need, and the more we can bring it, and you do a really phenomenal job of not only bringing your own unique voice into it, but bringing other unique voices and highlighting them, and giving time to maybe folks that might not have had that platform right at, you know, at whatever point in their journey. And so I really respect that. I appreciate that. You're an asset to this community. No, seriously, and it's awesome to have you here. So,
oh man, thank you so much, man.
I'm stoked to be a part of it. So,
yeah, dude, you can be on anytime you want. If you have an idea and be like, hey, we should try this. Maybe we should do an episode this way.
I got to get a better setup though. Nobody saw the like hour you spent with me before this. It was like spilling my beer all over my knives.
No, it's all good, man. And you know, like if you. And I'm going to say this to the audience as well. Like, if you know anyone who would be a good fit for the show that you think might mesh well, you know, with the vibe of the show, just like let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
Brad, you too, if you know anyone that you want to suggest. I'm trying to do more podcasts now. And yeah, man, it's just been really great. Thank you to everybody for supporting. Please support Brad, Mannered EDC.
Thanks.
This is your boy in the NYC. It's me, Ray, and this is the EDCCP saying peace.
Yo, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so we can squad up in the comments.